Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to go over the character review for Princess of the Heart, Garam. And since this unit is an XSR Plus unit, we're going to focus on the differences between her and the SSR Plus variant, and then we're going to talk about, obviously, how good this unit is, whether you should pull for her or not. We're going to see the differences in kits between the base version and the XSR Plus one. Then we're going to talk about ignition weapon, investment, and team building. So that's the plan. It's going to be fairly quick, as for all XSR Plus units. And I would say we can get started with the first point. So how good is she, and how is she different from the SSR Plus variant? I would say she's a really strong unit, one of the best supports we have. She's likely top 10. Actually, she is definitely top 10. She's not among the best of the best, but she's definitely providing a lot to the team because the base kit of Garam was already amazing. Then they changed the Revolution 5 and then gave her an HP recovery block, which is massive. Garam already had one, but it was hidden behind the cloak and it was single target, so that's kind of garbage. This one is AoE, is gonna hit all the enemies. It can be removed, but that's not the end of the world. I mean, you can spam it fairly easily, and there is also a stun that goes along with it, so they will take a bit before they can actually remove it. So overall, is a really good effect to have. I will say she's a bit better than SSR plus Garam, so she's an improvement from my point of view. They did nerf her base kit a little bit, like durations went down and also some values went down, but overall I think she's reasonably good, and she is better than the SSR plus one. Not by a huge margin, because the other one still has some uses, making the whole rotations a lot smoother with her own Revolution 5 that provides 200 energy to everybody whenever she uses the special move. But in this case, again, we replace that with an HP recovery block, which is really important, really good, and comes in handy a lot of times. So absolutely approved unit. I think this is the best XSR Plus unit that was released so far. And yeah, what else can we say? Uh, in terms of whether you should pull for her or not, as already mentioned in previous videos, she's obviously worth pulling for, but I will say data tower units are expensive, so these XSR Plus units are expensive. The best way to go about it would be to max out the SSR Plus unit, then do the daily refreshes on the data tower to get about 17 copies of the unit, and then on the last day you pull on their banner. If you just pull on the banner, that's gonna cost you more than 800 purple tickets easily, and that's a lot. That's really a lot, guys. So I wouldn't recommend it. I would say that's kind of a waste. I always do it on the first day because I want also to get other rewards from the tower, so I'm still doing it, but it's crazy expensive. I don't recommend it for everyone. Now, if you don't max out the SSR Plus unit, then it's kind of irrelevant whether you go with the data tower refreshes or the pools. I would still say wait for the last day before you max her out, so you get as many free copies as you can from the data tower, which is usually 5, 6. If you don't have the SSR Plus unit maxed out, maybe 7 if you're lucky. And then you just go ahead and pull on the last day to finish her off. It's gonna be expensive, so be prepared for that. You don't have to save for like EX units or anything like that, so purple tickets are a bit freer, let's say, and they also don't like to release a lot of SSR units lately, so it's okay. But if you don't have Spear Baranak and Spear Kuragero, I would save up at the very least 500 to 600 tickets, because they will rerun around August or September or maybe October, kind of depends on them. But they're going to rerun, and you don't want to be found like unprepared, because you cannot farm a lot of like normal summon tickets easily. Those are pretty rare, so it's better if you save up enough resources. So I would say only max her out if you can afford to save up that amount. Even if you can't, maybe could be worth it. She's an insane, like she's a really good unit. So I don't know, kind of up to you, but she's definitely worth it. You have to make your own like decision on whether it's worth the risk of going to 0 tickets for her or not. But again, if you can keep a certain amount safe after pulling for her, then go ahead and do it. She is really important to have. And okay, that's enough about this point. Let's talk about what changes in the base kit, because there are a few changes and nothing dramatic, but definitely something changed. For the passive, it's the same as always, same barrier amount, same duration, like same interval, same everything. So that's okay. The Ancient Cloth was reduced from 6 seconds to 4, which could be good, could be bad, kind of depends on the matchup and your team composition. Personally, I don't care about this effect, it's fine. So, fine, no big deal here. Then we have the Blue Sword Aura, the other active skill. In this one, they decreased the energy region from 100 to 80. So from 300 for 3 blades to 240. Nothing major, again, but it's something to take note of. Damage, I don't think it changed, but it's irrelevant. And the defense decrease stayed the same at 20% per stack, up to 3 stacks. So that's okay. The special move also remained the same, except for the duration of the stun, that went down from 5 seconds to 4 seconds. Everything else, the duration of the buff and the buff itself, is exactly the same. So that's okay. And for the exclusive equipment, they did not change anything. This is where we have the other HP recovery block effect, if you didn't remember, but the rest is exactly the same. So Revolution is what changed. We already mentioned Revolution 5, which is the 10-second HP recovery block on enemies hit by the Torrent of Light, which is the special move. And we also have a 30% attack decrease. This could have been higher. I would say at the very least 50%, but it's okay. It's not as important. Revolution 4 gives her 2-second invincibility every 10 seconds. So to me, basically non-existent. It could help if you are like lucky and the enemy hits you in this 2-second window, but it's unlikely. I don't know. Not too important. Then we have the 300 energy recovery, which is definitely more important than the invincibility part, I think. And that's going to make it more like smooth to chain the special move. That's all there is to it. Pretty good overall, really valuable. I think that anything below Rainbow 5 is basically the same as the previous one, as the SSR Plus one, and definitely the change you will feel only from Revolution 5. So yeah, that's enough for the kit overview and Revolution and stuff. For the ignition weapon, you have quite a lot of options. The best in slot I marked as L because that generates a lot of energy. With higher attack speed, you generate more energy, which is higher uptime on the special move. Runda is also an option because if you can stun the enemies with the special move, then you basically have a 4-second guaranteed energy region, which is 400 energy for all allies on the same row. But if enemies cannot be stunned, then no way, like that's gonna be bad. Like if you're against the tank hats, then your Runda is basically irrelevant on this unit. And yeah, just keep that in mind. It could be worth using, but there will be scenarios where it's basically irrelevant. Then we have Bari, which is always viable, obviously. It's just extra ability in case of an emergency, and that's it. Then we have Rafflesia and Doris, just in case, but they're way below the other options until they get buffed. Next ignition weapon that will be buffed is going to be Doris and Ryanna, if they go in order, which they should. So keep that in mind. Maybe Doris becomes really good. I have no idea. So that's it for ignition weapons. If we have to talk about which kind of stats you want to look for, we go here in the investment guide. I gave her the affected in slot 4 because it's extremely important that you land all the different things that she has. So the HP recovery block mainly, and also the stun. You definitely want those to apply. So affected is really important because they don't, like supports don't have affected in the Revolution subnodes, and you definitely have to get it somewhere. It's not important to get too much of it, so you could also go for it on substats, and here you could still run either effect resistance or magic resistance, kind of up to you. But yeah, I'd rather have affected directly there and make sure I can actually land my status effects and debuffs. So that's one important thing to note. In terms of requirements, I put in mandatory 3 red, but again, you won't feel a difference from the base version. Actually, she's only weaker, but okay. And the only subnode investment here is just effect resistance. For recommended, we jump straight to Rainbow 5, and in here, nothing really changed for Revolution. We just go to Revolution 5, and we go, again, effect resistance, nothing else. The affected thing still applies, and nothing more to mention. For nice to have, again, affected, same as before. And here we just have an addition of max cooldown reduction, entirely optional. You don't have to do it. It's just that she has decent active skills. If you want, you can definitely get some points here in max cooldown reduction. But it's not mandatory. I wouldn't do it, especially if you're free to play and you are short on these resources. Is not necessary by any means. So keep that in mind. And then the last point, just a quick talk about team building. We have the general information with the stuff that she provides. So the HP recovery block, special move pierce, energy recovery, defense decrease, buff removal, debuff removal, magic, and physical resistance increase for teammates. So that's what she does. And she has, like as a requirement, energy and survivability. To be honest, she can do well on her own. Her own survivability is improved thanks to L or Barry, depending on which one you run. And her own energy needs are kind of satisfied already. You don't need too much energy. She already gets 300 every 10 seconds, and she already has a lot of it out of L, or a little bit out of Barry, but not much. So you don't have to necessarily build a team around her. You can just slot her in wherever you want. And enemies that you should avoid are enemies that are immune to status effects, because obviously you cannot stun them, so the value that Garam provides is going to be a bit lower. This is not the end of the world, so I wrote in the brackets, not that important, because as long as you can apply the HP recovery block effect, you're good. So status effect immunity is just for stuns and crowd controls, so that's an important part of Garam, but not too much. So you can also just consider her as usable against anything. And the enemies that this unit is good against are just healers, obviously, for obvious reasons. So that's it. Usually I have the synergy part with specific units, but in her case, it's just such a plug and play unit you can just deploy when there are healers you need to counter, that who you use her with is a lot less relevant. Obviously, you want to use her with units that have a lot of damage on the special move and stuff like that, but it's not that important, okay? It's not something that you have to respect. I didn't think there were any particular synergies that were better than others, so I just skipped that part and went for basic teams instead. So for basic teams, we have a normal monocolor team with Dawn as the main DPS, Hockney giving her energy. Then we have Leroro to just decrease the enemy defense and stuff, fine. And we have Kumashini as the frontline unit, and Garam to block HP recovery and boost the special move damage of Dawn. That's about it. Pretty simple, nothing fancy. For the multicolor team, we still have a Stole tank. It could be literally anyone. You don't have to use Kumashini, it's irrelevant. Then we have Augustus, because he's a really good damage dealer and is going to deal a lot of special move damage, even though it will benefit a bit less from Garam's special move pierce, because he already has like 200% from his Revolution 5, which can be taken away easily if the enemy has any sort of buff removal, but that's that's irrelevant for now. So yeah, Augustus, really decent pick, but again, could be anybody. Literally, you deploy Garam wherever you want and wherever you have a healer you need to counter. That's it. Really, there is no restriction. Use her wherever you want. These are just a couple of ideas. They hardly matter. And yes, guys, that's all for this video, I would say. There is nothing else to mention. Again, fairly quick and easy. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!